Next up, I'll be talking to Gina Marsaglia with Pizza Port. She's one of the pioneers of the craft beer scene here in San Diego. So, Gina.
Hi.
Hey, nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, how you enjoying the conference so far?
So far, so good.
So
I'm a little late, so I missed quite a few of the talks I would have loved to see, but end of the month.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can catch up on YouTube or whatever once we post all of them and get that going. But, well, tell me, what's new at Pizza Port?
What's new? Well, we're coming up upon our 30-year anniversary for our first location, so we're throwing a 30-year reunion in March. So that's not really new, but that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Probably the most exciting thing. We're doing a reunion with all of our employees that have ever worked in that location, and we're renting out Belly Up for an 80s party.
That's awesome.
Keeping it fun. But as far as new business ideas and things like that, we have 4 new tanks coming at our Bresci location, so that's exciting for some more canning production.
And you just started canning, what, 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago.
So how many canned beers are you guys doing now?
We have 5 core, and then we do 4 seasonals.
And then tell me a little bit more about the seasonals and like which beers are we seeing there?
Okay, so we just released our first seasonal a couple months ago, and we did a collaboration with an artist, a local artist, Steve Sherman, and he had an iconic picture that was taken in Oceanside, and so we developed a beer kind of around the photography, and we knew we wanted an IPA, but it was the whole premise of the photo was a Southern Hemisphere swell coming in, and he captured a photo of 2 surfers getting barreled, both right and left waves simultaneously, and all the boards were breaking, so he put all the boards in an open lot, and that was in the foreground, and then the surfers and the barrel were in the background, and so that was it's a beautiful photo, and so we put it on a black and white can, and then we use Southern hops and California hops.
Right on. Well, we're seeing tap rooms. They're growing so big now. Like business in tap rooms, just huge. And you being a pioneer of that, what do you see like as sort of the future of driving that business?
Well, I think the simplicity, for one, if you have an existing location and you can open another tap room, it used to be a lot easier even than it is now. But I think that just being able to offer your product in a closer proximity to people make it really easy and successful for people to do it.
And the margins are so much better.
Right. I mean, we brew in all of our locations, and I know that's not that common just because the brewing location, the upkeep, the brewers, everything. But for me, it's more about the creativity. But I do think for our Lost Abbey brands to do what we did in Cardiff with the confessional was easy, and it did bring the beers that we can't bring closer to the people in San Marcos. It made it really easy for them to get there, and it's a really small location. There's not a lot of moving parts. It's a lot easier to do the little tasting tap rooms.
For people who don't know, could you tell us a little more about that project?
For the confessional?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our brewery for Lost Abbey and Port Brewing in San Marcos, and we've been there 10 years, but when the space became available in the Seaside Market, it's just a tiny little 900 square feet. I think it's 900, but so we offer all of our products there, and it's just a duplicate license. You can go into the ABC, and basically it's just an extension of the existing license we already have. And I mean, I see that with several other breweries that are in the area. I mean, everywhere pretty much.
In the San Diego scene, it's blown up so big lately. I mean,
it's crazy.
Having been here, you've been doing this since what, the mid 80s?
87, brewing since 92.
Yeah. So how big can it get? Can you guys go higher, than you are right now?
As far as number of breweries in San Diego, I think it's continually growing, and there's always a great space and and an opportunity for someone that's creative and wants to do it. And I think that that's going to be the ones that really succeed, are the ones that are brewing great beer and do it because they love it. But I know with OB, we looked for our location there probably like 6 or 7 years and never a brewery. And we opened 6 years ago, but now there's 4 new tasting rooms in the last year. Wow. Of just some of the duplicate licenses. And it hasn't hurt our business at all. If anything, it brings more craft beer drinkers to the area, and it concentrates the fun, I guess.
Well, yeah, you'd kind of wonder about that too. I mean, with the growth, how that would affect you, how that would affect, the long time established, breweries, but must be great to.
It's been great. For us, we always have a pretty good combination of our own beer that we make, and then we also bring in guest beers. It's usually about a 60-40 split, so we're constantly rotating all the beers, and the closer the beer is brewed, usually more people show up for the event, and it's really fun to put other friends' beers on tap.
Oh, for sure. So how many taps are you running of your own beer, did you say?
So it's different in each location. Out of all the 5 locations, we fluctuate between 30 and 40 taps, but primarily if we have 40 taps, usually 25 are our beers, 25 to sometimes 30, and 15 to guest beers on tap.
So for someone like me who's new to San Diego, where should I go? What should I hit? Who are you excited about?
Other breweries? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. There's so many. It'd be hard to even start, but I know, gosh, I haven't actually done a lot of beer tasting lately just because I'm so busy with our own business, but I don't know. There's so many in San Diego. It'd be hard to even name, like.
Oh, that's fair. So, what beers are you guys working on now that, you're most excited about?
The beer I'm most excited about right now that has really surprised me is Swami's. We've been making that beer since we opened Solana Beach, and we've tweaked the recipe a little bit, but that beer in a can is I'm so excited to see what's going on with that. I never expected it to be blowing up the way it is, and we just released Northern California, and it's incredible to watch what's happening, and also that's exciting for me because I love that beer. But we have some other beers that we're releasing. We're doing one that isn't hoppy, which is a total different direction for us. We're doing Grandview Golden, and I think that it's just going to satisfy a lot of the void we have in our portfolio as far as packaged.
Talk a little bit about that void and filling that.
Well, we're pretty much known for our hoppy beers, and that's probably because we all love hoppy beers and we want to brew the beer we want to drink. But we do recognize that that beer does great on tap. It does great on draft. Chronic does great too, and those are our 2 non-hoppy beers. But for a lighter offering, we're going to try it and see how it goes. But luckily, we're at a scale now that we can satisfy the demand of how many cans, the minimums, and so that's going to be our newer release.
Awesome. Well, Gina, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out to talk with me. It was nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. And thanks for everything you guys do for the industry. It's been great watching the growth of Brewbound.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you. We're fans of yours as well.
Oh, thanks. Cheers.